Hey, we're coming at you from the Independence Makeshift Studio, which we usually refer to as the Photography Lounge. We want you to feel welcome, so come right on in, have a seat, and we hope you enjoy the show. This is Halftime Prep Talk. I'm Aaron Snyder, the sports editor of the Independent since 2012, and I'm going to be here today with Mark Maynard, who is the editor of the newspaper, and fellow sports writer Zach Clement. And we will have very special guests coming up, and Ashland head football coach Tony Love and Tomcats senior Tucker Schweikert. So with that being said, let's kick it off, guys, with some high school football. To my left is Mr. Mark Maynard. He's been with the paper for how many years now, Mark?
It's they didn't have the face mask when I first started here. That's kind of been a new thing that's developed since I started. Now I've been here since 1975. It'll be 40 years next spring.
Let's give this man a hand.
Absolutely.
Gives himself a hand.
Poor golf sponsor.
To my right is Mr. Zach Clement. He became the third of the Three Stooges full-time sports staff on this past New Year's Eve, joining myself and the crafty veteran Rocky Stanley.
Rocky Stanley, that's right.
He's the crafty veteran.
He is very crafty.
And he joined Forts here at the Independent, and he's been going at it strong for about 8 months now. So there's so much to talk about, on the high school football front. As it typically is, the off season is just full of things happening, full of change. And this year 4 local teams underwent head coaching changes. All have interesting backstories as well. There's a few athletes bouncing back from injuries, and a few athletes that are suiting up in different uniforms this year, as always. And then there's one cherished stadium that has undergone a major facelift in Putnam Stadium.
Reconstruction almost. Let's say it like it is. It's not really a facelift so much as it's a totally new stadium.
Yes. And there's always just so much that transpires over the course of 8 months is the whole off season. So first, let's talk about Putnam just a little bit, and we'll get to that a little bit more too with Coach Love, and we have him on, and Tucker. But that's got to be one of the major stories, if not the major story, of the off season and heading into the season.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about putting $2 million in a stadium to basically reconstruct it. I know, when that thing went down back in January and February, tell you what, it tore some hearts out. You're talking about, and I know there's some romanticism kind of going on now about Putnam Stadium, and with good reason.
Sure.
It's a place that's a cherished place, and it's more than a football field. They've had band competitions there. They've had graduations there. They've had revivals there. They've had baseball. The Negro League reunion was there. The first year was here. Some people came to get autographs. Back in the 60s, they had fireworks there. That's where they let the fireworks off in Ashland. So people have a lot of ties to Putnam Stadium, and I think that's why you're seeing such an outpouring of emotion, about it coming down, and also, about it coming back up. And I think when the stadium went down, it was probably the best thing. It was not a safe place anymore. It was 77 years old. It was built for $6,500 in 1937. Wow. I think they got their money's worth.
Yeah, I think
sure.
so.
But you look at what has transpired in that, like you say, in just a few months, really, and it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous place, and we won't be around for the next facelift or reconstruction of Putnam Stadium, unless we have an earthquake or something around here. Hopefully nothing like that happens. But it is gorgeous, and I know they got the goalposts up today.
Yes.
Very important. Rick Sang actually donated those from ProKicker.com.
Wow.
And they're NFL goalposts. They're awesome, and they've striped the field, so it's really starting to look like a football field again. And then it's going to be ready. And it might be soggy the next few days. They're talking about some rain and things, but they're going to be ready, and they're planning on playing the game. A lot of hoopla surrounding that game.
Yeah, it's almost like the way it's viewed. It's almost like the Wrigley Field of this area, isn't it?
It absolutely. It's it's been around so long, and even people, opponents admire the place. And they play their best when they come there, especially the local people. I know, Bill Tom Ross is the one that started Raceland coming to Putnam Stadium every year. because he wanted them to play in that atmosphere. That's a playoff atmosphere for them.
And that series is still going.
And the series is ongoing, and actually racing, Bill Tom, pulled off a few wins, and racing's,
Randy
Van
Van
Der
Der
Griff
as well.
has, and through the years they've done very well against the Tomcats. To be honest, I mean, much to the chagrin of Ashland people.
Sure.
But there's been a lot of great games. I've seen a lot of great games over there, and I don't know if I could pick a favorite game that I covered over there, but there've been a lot of big ones for sure.
Absolutely. A lot of what we're going to be talking about, and a lot of what has happened over the course of the off season is going to be covered in our 42nd annual high school football preview issue, which is something that's going to be released on Thursday. Get your copy as quickly as you can. We're also going to put all the stories on our website and make it accessible to you there as well. But we've worked diligently, as we always do, to produce this publication, and we hope you enjoy it. It's also going to be available on our e-edition format, which it looks great on there. I mean, it looks great when you have it in your hands, but it looks really good on the e-edition as well. And we don't want to give it all away, but this issue does feature a history-making cover. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. It's actually a team that's never had. I will give a little hint. A team that's never had the cover to themselves before in the history of the preview issue. Mark, you've been involved in so many of these, and this is last year's here with Tony Love and Luke Johnson and Quentin Baker for Ashland, and Tony Love's first year with the Tomcats. We enjoy giving the kids the much-deserved recognition that they get here, but there's also a little bit of a pride factor with us, isn't there? I mean, with all the work we put in.
No doubt. It's been. I have been involved in 41 of 42. Well, I'm not really involved in this one. You guys did all this one, but I've been involved in 41 of them. You can still count if you want.
Yeah, he's in.
But it is, and I tell you, it's something that the fans look forward to. I mentioned Bill Tom Ross a minute ago. He said it's like Christmas. Tab Day is like Christmas to him. He couldn't wait to get it. He'd always call and say, because sometimes over the years we've printed it, 2 and 3 days early before it, actually went in the paper. And can you get me a copy? Can you sneak me a copy? No, can't do that, Coach. He said, oh, daggone, I mean, that's how much people look forward to it. You see the radio broadcasters carrying their Bible around, as they call it, because it does have so much information. And you're right, Aaron. There's certainly a lot of pride that goes into making it the best one in the state. I feel like, and you've just carried on that tradition greatly. You and Zach and Rocky done a tremendous job of making it look good, read well, and making it an edition that everybody wants to get hold of on Thursday. We're going to sell all papers Thursday, and I like that, and our publisher Eddie Blakely likes that. So if we're happy, that's a good thing.
If Eddie's happy, we're all happy.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the Breaking Camp series a little bit, Zach. We've put that out there for everybody. What we do is we feature every school leading up to the season just to get people talking and get people reading about some of the interesting stories that there are inside the lines on the practice fields. And it's been kind of enjoyable, just putting that all together. Yes, it is work, but it's also enjoyable, and to get to know these kids and get to know some of the coaches in the schools and the programs and things like that. So I know it's your first one involved, the first time you've been involved with us. So what's it been like, just to kind of help produce this Breaking Camp series?
Well, it gives us a good opportunity to meet some of the kids and the coaches that maybe don't get all the headlines and don't get as much recognition. And you're looking for more for good stories and human interest stuff than you are just, this kid ran for 1,300 yards last year, and so we're going to feature him. It's more of an opportunity to find out about people's families and their motivations and where they're going in life. I think in a lot of ways, in addition to where they've been. And we've had some a good mix of different backgrounds and different people, and we got every school in our coverage area in there at some point or another, and it just goes to show that there's a story everywhere. But we had a lot of fun putting that together, and you get to meet people that way.
Okay, at this point, I guess, Zach, you'll be exiting stage left, and we're going to bring in the man who is going to be coaching that game for Ashland against Newport Central Catholic, head coach Tony Love, who's in his second year at the Tomcats. And we'll bring him in and talk to him in just a minute.
Yeah, I think we'll put him in the hot seat.
We'll put him in the hot seat. Yeah, this is heating up just for you, Tony Love. All right, halftime prep talk. First guest of the season is Tony Love, Ashland Tomcats head coach, head football coach for the second season. Coach Love, it's really nice to have you down here, and thanks for coming down.
Thanks, I appreciate you asking me down here.
And the first thing I got to ask you is, about Putnam Stadium. It's been such a wild several weeks. Well, it goes back further than that even, but the last few weeks, just getting into the season. What's it been like just with all the conversation and excitement with the surrounding Putnam Stadium?
There's always a buzz going on about football season anyhow, and of course this has just kind of kicked it up to a whole nother notch. But we stress to the kids, inside the white lines is not going to change a bit. And that's our job, is to get ready for that. It's great to talk about. It's great conversation for the community. But for our kids, we need to get ready for Newport and the rest of the season.
Mark, did you want to ask him a couple?
Yeah, Tony, how important is it to protect the home front, throughout the season, not just this first game? I mean, obviously everybody's going to have a big crowd there Friday night for sure. I mean, everybody's talking about the stadium and everything, but how important is it to win at home and do your best job there?
Well, Putnam Stadium has this history of things happening in favor of the Tomcats, and I think the older generation is concerned that that magic may go away. So our part is we need to be well prepared. We need to go out there, play hard, and that's the magic. It's just about Tomcat football players playing hard. And I believe when you're well prepared and you're disciplined and you play hard, that positive things happen for you. And I think that's really the magic about Putnam Stadium. We consistently get kids that come in there and they work their tails off, and they put themselves in position to win ball games. And we've had some good fortune over the history of the stadium.
Absolutely, it's the same turf too. It's the same turf that people have played on for 77 years.
Right.
A lot of great teams through the years, and there is a lot of tradition with Putnam Stadium. And even though it's the new Putnam Stadium, it's still the same Putnam Stadium. It's the same place, and like you said, results come from the kids.
Right, it is, and it's funny because I've heard so many times this summer, you got to win that first one in the new Putnam Stadium, and I don't think I can push the coaching staff any harder. I don't think I can push the kids any harder than we are. People will say there's a lot more pressure with this season, but to us, there's not. We have the same amount of pressure that we put on ourselves, probably more so than the community puts on us, because we're all competitors. We all know the history that this program's had, and we want to make sure that we do what we can to uphold that tradition.
You remember the first time you walked into Putnam Stadium, the old Putnam Stadium?
I do. I was actually a coach for Greenup County, and I come up here to scout a game, and I was just absolutely amazed. I thought, the only stadium compared to that was Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati, and I played in that one, and it kind of makes you feel like a gladiator, the way it's built. And when I walked in on that night, I thought, wow, this is a pretty amazing place.
Did you think then that you might coach there one day?
I had no idea, honestly. I was so green when it came to coaching. I thought I knew a lot about football, but I was fortunate that by chance I happened to be going by and drop off an application, and Mr. Gilmore was there. He pulled me in. We did an interview, and I mean, it was by chance that the guy that had the job ahead of me decided to stay in North Carolina. So Coach Arthur got stuck with me as a green coach, and my first couple weeks there, I was shocked at how much I didn't know about football. And we've had a lot of coaches come in and say the same thing, that not only is your tradition rich with players that come through, but it's also rich with the coaches. Mm-hmm. The guys come in there and they understand the amount of time, effort, energy that you have to put in order to continue our rich tradition.
Right.
19 years as an assistant there, and I sometimes you have to wonder, am I ever even going to get that next step? You got that last year. You won 8 games, which is a great season. You had to be pretty pleased with how everything went, and the team responded well to you.
Right. Well, that's a testament. I've said this over and over to the kids and to the coaching staff. I mean, I almost feel guilty in a way taking credit because I see how much work they put in and what the kids do to get themselves ready. you know, it was almost kind of like stepping into a position and allowing the machine to keep running itself.
It's a tough job though. In Ashland, I think in particular, the community does expect a lot, which I guess you expect a lot too. So you'd rather them expect a lot than not expect a lot.
Right. Well, I had interviewed at another school, and you know, I asked them before the interview was over. This has been many years ago. What the expectations were, or what they would deem as successful, and they said, if you beat Ashland, you're successful. And I said, you can go 1-9, and you guys are going to think that's successful. And they said, as long as that one is Ashland. So, you know, it's so different here in comparison to, everybody wants to win, but the amount of pressure that's created to win doesn't compare, I think, to a lot of places.
You know, through the years, I've seen teams come into Putnam Stadium, and you see them have the wide eyes, and they're looking around. They come in that bowl, and like you said, it is like a gladiator field, and it's even more so now.
Right.
I think with the cornered end zones, you know, it's the horseshoe look or whatever. And I think it can be an intimidating place, and still is.
I agree with that, and you know, it kind of makes sometimes our players look bigger than they really are. But it ultimately comes down to the kids being prepared and the kids working hard, and you know, having a great place that they see when they're coming up, that they see, you know, they look at the players that are there right now and they think that they're giants, and they want to be one of those guys someday. And our feeder system is doing a great job of producing the next group of football players, and our junior high is really looking solid this year. So you know, it's all part of what Tomcat football is about, and it's all part of, you know, the pressure that's put on to win. But like I said before, we probably put more pressure on ourselves to win than we get from outside influences.
You got Newport Central Catholic coming in Friday night, as you touched on earlier, and what a tough opponent to open with. With all this stuff going on, you got 2 hours of, you know, anticipation with all the ceremonies and things like that, pregame ceremonies, unveiling of statues, just things of that sort. And then you got Newport Central Catholic coming in, a very tough opponent who's a state runner-up last season in the Class 2A. What's it like to have to face that type of opponent on that kind of night?
Well, we have our hands full. There's no doubt about it. Watching video, you know, they consistently make it to the state championship year after year, and that's not by accident. You know, they're a very well coached team. They have excellent athletes. You know, maybe you would like a little softer opponent coming in, but it is what it is. You know, our kids are going to be ready to play. You know, they understand the magnitude of the game in the community's eyes, but you know, and I've said this to them several times, it doesn't change the game. You know, you still have to continue to do the basic things that win, and you know, that is play great defense, run the football, be disciplined, and you know, as long as we do those things, we'll keep ourselves in the game. You know, I feel like there's a lot of variables this year that maybe we didn't have last year, and nothing against last year's group, but you know, we've just seen some different talent come up that we think we can use to. And when you play an opponent, you get familiar with them a little bit too. And it was an opponent we really had no idea about.
Right.
You know, they were. I don't think we have any history of playing them that I know of, and you know, it was a challenge. You know, because they are good.
Right. You guys obviously have a lot of speed and athleticism in the backfield. Hunter Prince, a quarterback, Quentin Baker, obviously, who's received an offer from Kentucky. We know how good he is. And Jake Long, who came over last year from Ironton. Those three guys, there's a lot of speed and athleticism there, like I said. I mean, can you imagine having a better backfield than that in high school?
I couldn't imagine that. And maybe if you look back on the '90 team, you're going to see some guys that are
right.
of that quality. But you know, you watch the NFL Combine, and you know, you hear them throw out somebody ran a 4.4, and you know, that's a big mark for NFL players. Well, you know, we have two of them, in the backfield that run 4-4. And you know, we've kind of shaped our offense a little bit different this year because, you know, what I've learned over the past years with other coaches is, you know, if you have talent, you want to exploit that talent. And, you know, to try to do something maybe that wouldn't use that talent to the best of their abilities would be kind of foolish as a coach. So I was open-minded enough to sit down with Coach Tackett, Coach Dowdy, and look at some things and use these guys, you know, hopefully to get out of what we need to be successful this year.
Well, I think that team should be exciting to watch for sure. Defensively, are you up to par there? And how do you look? How do you feel like you're shape up there?
I'm always wanting more defensively. You know, until you get a shutout week in and week out, I don't think you're satisfied as a defensive coach. But I was really impressed. We went up to Mason County. I was impressed by how we hit. You know, we ran to the ball very well, and when you've gone through summer camp and you really don't know how your kids are going to respond because they've been going up against the same kids, you know, their teammates all week, so you can't tell how they're going to run to the ball. You hope that they will, and you stress it in practice with pursuit drills. But we went up last week, and I was excited what I saw out of them. You know, there's a lot of room for improvement, as everybody has this time of year. And, you know, the kids may think we're a little bit nitpicky when we start looking at certain things that we're doing wrong on video. But I think overall, you know, they receive the information and they want to get better. They want to push themselves because they want to be an elite team, an elite, you know, team within a team. And yeah, I was pleased with the speed that we showed on defense, and I was pleased with the unity we showed in swarming to the ball and, you know, the physicality we had.
Oh, you're a long-time defensive guy. When you had to shift to head coach and you had to start at least thinking offense, but are you one of these guys just pacing up and down the sideline waiting for the defense to get out there still, or have you become a little more enamored with offense anyway?
I'm still defense. That's what those other two get paid for, is really concentrate on offense. But
you gave them some pretty good weapons. So
yeah, they'll be okay. No, I have input with our offense. Last week I kind of pulled one out, you know, during the games that, hey, let's look at running this that we had talked about. You know, we repped it in practice, and, you know, I believe it was a third down play, and it broke out of there pretty well. You know, they kind of give you the eye like, where'd that come from? But, you know, those guys are so talented, you know, as offensive coordinators that, you know, I don't want to step in and, you know, mess those guys up. I'll stay over there on the dark side of the ball is what we call it, and get that hit squad up and running.
All their you know, great teams through the years, I've seen a lot of them. They've been great defensive teams.
Right.
And you know, if you're going to be great, that's what you have to be.
You look at any level of competition. I mean, you look at football in particular, that if you don't play great defense, there's going to be a team here or there pop up that can just outscore people. But sooner or later, it comes back to get you in the championship game. You know, you see in college football in the championship games, and for sure in the NFL. But you know, you can almost always go and look at the strongest defenses, and you'll find some of the best teams, I think.
Coach, we really appreciate you coming down, and it was great having you on. And then we're going to bring in Tucker Schweikert in here and see what he has to say.
All right, appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
You're on the hot seat.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you guys.
All right, we're here with Tucker Schweikert here on Halftime Prep Talk, the second guest of the show. Tucker, it's really good to have you on.
Nice to be here. Good to be here.
I know you're a senior on this Tomcats team, and I know it means a lot to you to be successful this year, but what do you guys want to accomplish on this first Friday night against Newport Central Catholic in such an environment that, you know, surrounding you with the excitement of Putnam Stadium? What do you guys want to go out there and accomplish?
Well, we put a ton of work into this off season for sure. Summer's been a real exciting one, I'd say. And I mean, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter where we're playing. Like, we're extremely excited and grateful to have this stadium. I mean, it's extremely nice. But at the end of the day, I mean, if we go out there and put all the work we put into our off season, if we put that into the game, I think we'll have some real results.
I know you're a guy in particular that Coach Love has talked about and you know he's kind of been preaching the message of sacrifice and the next man in, things like that. Well, something that you did, a move that you made in the preseason, was you moved from tight end, correct, to offensive line. Can you talk about your thought process there and that move?
Well, I mean, I've played tight end since freshman year. So, I mean, I'm pretty used to that, but, I mean, it's really not much more than a tackle over, so it's not a lot different in the first place. But when Coach Arthur was like, hey, think you could learn some tackle? I was like, sure. I was like, where'd the tackles go? But, okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm good with it. I'm completely fine. I like it. Have fun. That's what it's about.
It's been going pretty well for you, and
Yeah.
you're blocking for some really good athletes back there, aren't you?
Yeah, thankfully.
What do guys like Quentin Baker and Jake Long and Hunter Prince bring to the table, you know, and how much fun is it to block for those kind of guys?
I mean, I'm thankful we have them. I mean, I don't have to make the hole nearly as big as I need to. I mean, I'm good with that. They're fast, they're quick, they're smart. That's all I could ask for.
You've been at Ashland how long?
Since 7th grade.
Since 7th grade. You remember your first time in Putnam Stadium?
Freshman year. Can't say I really remember it, but I mean, I'm sure it was freshman year.
Did you not play 7th and 8th?
I mean, I did, but I guess
Guess you were in there then.
I guess
too.
there, but
Yeah.
let's focus on high school.
How does it? The whole everybody talking about Putnam Stadium and you guys are hearing that all the time. How are you separating that from preparation and trying to get ready for the season?
I mean, we just need to focus on Newport Catholic. I mean, we need to focus our whole season, but that's what we have this week, and it really doesn't matter where we're playing.
Played Newport Catholic last year, and really good team.
Yeah, good
really
team.
tough opener
Yeah.
for sure. What do you remember about that game last year that kind of comes to the forefront?
Well, I mean, they were quick. They were real quick. And we had some trouble tackling. We definitely worked on that this year. That's what we've been focusing all week. That's what Coach Love's been preaching, tackle, tackle, tackle. So, I mean, they're quick, but we're ready for them, I think, for sure.
Talk about Coach Love's intensity. Practice, game, same.
Yeah. I mean, the whole week in practice, he's intense. He's intense every second of every practice. But, I mean, on a game, he's more the silent type until you mess up. But, I mean, he's always intense, 100%.
So just don't mess up.
Yeah, just don't mess up.
That's
Very good.
Yeah.
With all the Putnam Stadium stuff going on, obviously, there's one side of that can be a distraction possibly, but the other side of that is that's got to push you guys and motivate you guys even more, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. You don't want to be the team that loses in New Putnam, and we're not going to let that happen. But I mean, yeah, definitely, that's been on our backs a little bit this week.
All right, Tucker. Well, we appreciate you having taking the time to come down here and talk to us on HTPT. We're going to get that hashtag. Halftime Prep Talk, HTPT. Okay. Anyway, it's really good to talk to you, and nice to meet you. The first time.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
All right. Good luck this season.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
All right.
All right, we got Zach Clemmy back in the picture here.
So who's ready to talk about top 3 games of the week?
Ooh, yeah.
It's kind of a light week. There are several schools that are open this week. A handful of them. So you only had to whittle down a list of about 5 or 6 games to come up with 3. But so coming in at number 3, and I do want to tease this too on Thursday. If you want to check out the paper, we have our staff predictions as well as we do every year.
Is it going to be just us this year, or have you decided
what
we're going to do?
What we're going to do is we're going to have it's going to be you and Zach and myself and Rocky and Adam Van Kirk, our night editor, and we're going to bring in our stringers.
Okay.
Our stringer
I like that.
photographers and stringer writers, and they're going to be able to pick with us.
Get harassed with us.
Yeah, and get harassed with C.
Got to spread that out,
Yeah, they got to get a taste of that. So, and they don't get to just cover games.
They don't get a
anymore.
pass. Yeah.
Yeah, they got to hear it when they cover games.
I like that.
But coming in at number 3, we got Lawrence County and Boyd County, and one of the things about Boyd County this year is one thing you see on the surface is they've gotten bigger. Their line, it looks pretty large. Now we'll see what else they have to offer. Coach Gillum is there in his 2nd year. John Gillum, after a lengthy stint at Morehead State, we'll see what they have to offer there in their first home game, but they might be able to present a little bit of a challenge to Lawrence County. Mark, what do you think about that game, and who would you predict?
Well, I'm going to have to stick with Lawrence County. I think Lawrence beat them pretty badly last year in Louisa.
56-15 last year.
And I think Boyd's still just not quite there yet, not quite where they probably want to be. I'm sure they're getting better, and I know Coach Gillum is he was a great defensive coach, and he's gonna make some things happen, before this is over. But right now, first game, I'm gonna go with Lawrence County.
Zach, how do you feel about that one?
I think that's a good pick. Lawrence County has to replace 94% of his total offense from last year, but they bring back a guy in Morgan O'Brien who played well at times the sophomore year. He got hurt, missed last year. He'll be back, and all indications are that he's back to full strength. They're back close to full strength, and they've got a quarterback in Grant Kaiser that's played some in the secondary, and he won't be overwhelmed by the moment or any of that. And Lawrence is running that belly option, and Boyd County's kind of indications that they're moving to a spread. Well, you got Lawrence that kind of knows what it's running, and Boyd is learning as it goes, and I think that'll be a big difference in
You're
kind of
right.
how the offenses work.
You're right. Boyd's kind of in that transition period because they're running a completely different offense in the spread offense, and they do have a new quarterback as well, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to go with you guys. I'm going to pick Lawrence County as well. Lawrence County is one of those teams that, like you said, they did lose a lot from last year, but a lot of those were skill guys, skill position players, and they're still pretty good up front. They have good experience back there. And also, what I really like about their team is a lot of the basketball players have come out to play, and I know for a fact that those guys are athletes. Just seeing them, they competed with a really good Johnson Central team the last couple seasons and almost won the 15th region last year. I mean, they really gave Johnson Central a run for the money. So I like Lawrence County in this game because of that. And the second game coming in at number 2 is Greenup County at Lewis County. Zach, you want to kick us off here? Greenup and Lewis, what are your thoughts on that?
Heck of a game last year in Lloyd at Greenup, and Greenup kind of struggled to shot itself in the foot a little bit with penalties late in that game, and Lewis had opened up the lead, and Greenup was trying to come back and make it close, and they struggled with that. Ryan Bird is back, and the running back there should be real solid again, and they bring back a quarterback and a lot of experience. Lewis County brings back a lot from last year, and they were solid last year, beat Greenup at Greenup, and made the playoffs out of their district. But Lewis should be solid. I think this should be a pretty good game, but probably give Lewis the edge at home, I think. Close one.
Yeah, I totally agree about the fact that it will be close. I like Lewis at home. Isaac Weddington is a guy who threw 22 touchdowns last year. He's back. He's offers some size. He's like 6'3", 6'4" himself. And then behind him are coming in at a combined 495 pounds, Dalton Stam and Mason Thurman. Those guys will be tough to tackle. And I know they can move a little bit too. So, and then you got Tyler Mustard as a receiver. I do like Greenup County's direction. I think they're going in the right direction after winning a couple games last year, after 2 winless seasons. But I like Lewis in the close one.
Yeah, I think I'm agreeing with you guys. I think this is going to be one of the better games of the night as far as competitive. I think, probably not a whole lot of difference between those teams and who turns it over, who makes the penalty, at the wrong time. It could spell a difference in this game. But I'm going to stick with Lewis. It's a home team. They play well in Vanceburg, always have, and they have some good leadership coming back. Like you say with Weddington, and the Monday morning quarterback had
Who's that?
Yeah, who is that guy? Had Weddington as one of the top quarterbacks in the area, and Mustard is one of the top receivers. So I like those guys, and I'm going to give the edge to Lewis County in a close one.
Well, you don't need to believe what that guy writes.
Yeah, I know, that's true.
Coming in at number 1, Newport Central Catholic and Ashland at New Putnam Stadium. Lots going on.
Wow, tough game, tough game. They couldn't have did Tony Love many favors here by picking a team that was runner-up last year in Class AA, and a great team beat Ashland.
Why couldn't they just bring in the Browns?
Well, might as well. They're still trying to figure out a quarterback. Newport Catholic, very good every year. Good athletes, good speed. They went up there last year, gave them a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Could have won.
Game, I think.
Could have won. One of those. You make a few mistakes. That was Coach Love's first game as a head coach, so they didn't do any favors last year either. But there's going to be so much excitement over there. I can't imagine, how fired up those kids are going to be, those Ashland kids are going to be at that game. You worry for them. Are you too hyped up about, trying to win that first game? We got to do everything we can to win that first game, and sometimes that's when you make the most mistakes, instead of just playing. And hopefully they'll feed off the energy that comes from the game and just play. They've prepared, they have, and they'll be ready for Newport Catholic. But Newport Catholic's not going to come in here and say, oh, it's our first game, we're all scared. Ooh. No, they're going to come in saying, we're going to knock your butts off here in this new stadium. We'll show you. That'll be what everybody remembers. Newport Catholic winning.
They probably hope that there's an intimidation factor there, like, with Putnam Stadium and everything involved. But I don't know if Newcath will be intimidated.
No, I don't think they will be.
You kind of erase that from the
right
from being a factor.
But if I'm picking this game, I'm going over there Friday, and I'm not going to go over there having picked Newport Catholic win this game. So I'm going to go with the Tomcats in this one. I think it will be close. And honestly, I think they will prevail. I mean, I think Quentin Baker and Jake Long. My goodness, I mean,
it's going to be exciting to see what they can do.
Yeah, they have
together.
some serious speed.
Right.
And really the quarterback too. Hunter Prince got some speed too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everything I'm hearing from everybody, kind of look out for the Tomcats.
Right.
So they're going to be pretty good. I remember I talked to Dickie Martin a few days ago, and I said, what do you hear? And he said, good things. I mean, when he's saying that,
it's for real.
Yeah, it must be the real deal.
Check his temperature.
Yeah, see if he was okay. He's still not quite come to terms with the old Putnam Stadium being down, so he might be
ill from
he's
that.
a little delusional from that, I think. But anyway, no, but yeah, even he said, I think it's looking good.
Wow.
And so, and I know Baker and Long. I mean, they haven't had speed like that in the backfield. I could not tell you when. It's been many years that they've had a backfield this good.
Baker and Long they proved that they are athletes already. I mean, they've done it on the track. They became a dynamic duo there on the track this past spring. They're hard to beat there. So as far as their speed and athleticism goes, I mean, they've already proven that they have that. Now, how well they run in this offense and how well the line blocks for them, how well the line even needs to block for them, that's questions that will be answered. We know what Newport Central Catholic has because they have the same pretty much every year. They're going to be talented almost all the way around. 2 years ago, they won a state championship, Class 2A. Last year, they were state runners-up in Class 2A. I'm going to be with you there on Friday night. But I will, like you, honestly say that played no part in my pick, and I'm still going to go to the Tomcats. It's a matter of how they channel that emotion. If they channel that emotion correctly, and if they can kind of get past that the first few minutes of the game, and just remember that it is just another game, then I think they'll be just fine with their speed, and with with Prince having a year under his belt at quarterback as well, that helps too. And a defensive leader like Drew O'Brien, I like the Tomcats in this game in a really tight one.
You look at Newcath, and we did a little research on them to kind of figure out what Ashland's getting itself into, and they'll have a new quarterback this year from what they had last year, and they're kind of young in some places, but yet they also bring back experience and depth, and they'll have some new starters, but they have a solid running back, and they have one receiver that's supposed to be pretty good. Like you guys said, they're not going to be intimidated by the mystique of Putnam Stadium because they play in huge games every year. And I'm not going to be in Putnam Stadium on Friday, so I'm a little bit safer in saying that I'm going to go out on a limb and might get myself in trouble right from the get-go. But I think Newcath has what it takes to pull out a tight one on the road, and we'll see how they handle it. But they've been in a lot of experienced kids that have played 2 state championship games, and it's hard to replicate that.
Visit our website, dailyindependent.com. Please keep checking out our newspaper, and come back next week for halftime prep talk, #HTPT.